What's going on, everybody? It's your boy. I thought I'd show you something that we've been working on for like the past 3 months. So I want to show you guys how I turned this into this right here. I have the stuff to show you actually what I did, but I just want to talk about how much of a difference this has made for us so far. If we're in our kitchen here, this wall used to be completely closed. It would get really hot. There's just no air circulation in a small kitchen like this, so like the stove was pretty much unusable at the time. Emma was like, make a hole, and I was like, all right, shouldn't be that bad. I'm just gonna have to cut open the drywall, find where the 2x4s are, and go from there. Boy, was it more work than that. Let me show you that whole process. What's up, everybody? It's early in the morning. I'm tired. And it's a day off, so I'm plotting. Wayne, she's gonna get the potatoes in that box. It's the last thing she does. To create a pass-through window to the living room. So basically it would be on this wall here. I don't know where my tape measure went. If we come over here, you'll notice that I have this tape line. It's not like exactly perfectly measured. I just wanted a level line and about at the height where I think the cutout would be. Anyway, I have marked right here, as you can see, end of chimney. Yes, why would I have marked that there? Good question, Wayne. So the reason that I've marked that off is because in this space here, which you can see is covered right here, is the chimney, the old brick chimney, right behind this wall. Isn't that right, Loki? Obviously you don't want the hole to start too far, you know, you want it to start at the right spot. And I also want to make sure that I have enough room for the trim because we don't want it to be ugly. Isn't that right, Wayne? The hole is going to be passing on this wall here, and I just want to make sure that I have enough space to clear the chimney and the cabinets on this side. Right, Wayne? Right, Loki? Now that they're up to speed, we're gonna plot some more stuff out. So there's kind of a good chance that these walls are plaster from what I understand because it's an old house. Not gonna get much use out of this, but I do figure that the stud is on this side of the outlet, so just gonna have to do some measurements, I guess. The only real thing I can do next, other than build the box, is poke a hole and see what's on the inside. Come up with this box. This is like absolute maximum. This is gonna be on the line right here. Obviously the wall that's covering the chimney is thicker than the chimney itself, and we do kind of want to expose it. And if it's ugly, we'll cover it back, but that's not the end of the world. But anyway, this is like absolute maximum area that we can cut out technically, where we would probably have to not put trim and do drywall instead. But I think I'm gonna poke an inspection hole and look and see if it's plaster or if it's a drywall. Alright, I've poked a little hole and let's see what's inside. So you can see the stud on the right there marked out with this pencil line. Not sure how close I am though, to be honest. The stud finder wasn't all that great. Can I see anything in there? Probably a bit of ways away, but the good news is that I don't see any wires. It appears we have one there too. Alright. That explains why it's beeping everywhere. I'm gonna go get my shot back. Also, you should wear some kind of eye protection. I want to point out as well that this is a non-load bearing wall. If you're going to do something like this, make sure it's a non-load bearing wall. Bigger hole, bigger hole, bigger hole, bigger hole, bigger hole. Here we are dealing with a little less than ½ inch on the drywall. Now, I don't know if drywall is exactly ½ inch. Gotta be honest, I'm not that kind of professional, but I want to show y'all something fun. This is the frame we tore out that we want to build the arch on. So this is 1/2 inch drywall. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's definitely a difference between these two. It's more than 1/4 inch, but it's not 1/2 inch drywall. So I don't know if I'm gonna have to take all this out and replace it just to build the arch, because I certainly can't add material here and have it be flush, because I don't think you can buy thinner than 1/2 inch drywall. Do I know? I don't know. I don't know shit. This is kind of what we're dealing with here. So we got stud, little stud, little stud, and way in there, another little stud. I made a hole to the other side just to kind of see, and I already feel airflow coming in. So this is good, because the mini split in the living room has been doing a tremendous job in there. But none of that air comes into the kitchen. So whenever we cook literally anything, it gets a bajillion degrees in here, so. Couldn't do that before. That's about as good as an inspection hole gets. Way too big, unnecessary, but it's gonna help with the airflow until we can figure out what else we can cut. Even if it's just this for the next few weeks, I'm fine with that. It'll depend kind of how things go, but we may go lower than this and just replace the stud, put another one like lower. I don't know all these terms, but all right, I got fill, beer, and another window. We're making progress here. It's a slow progress, but we're making progress. And the girls are playing some Mario Wonder or whatever. Not really. All right, go see on the other side. It's kind of funny.
What the did they double stack it? Triple stacked it.
3 times. So there's 1 step, 2 steps. Where we're at now. There's a hole.
Somewhat of a
Is that a picture?
Yep. Two cheese.
So here I am in the office. As you can see, things didn't quite turn out the way I was expecting. Of course, I was either expecting that it was going to be lath and plaster. It was not. It was drywall. But when I opened the drywall, there were fucking studs everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. I just want to show you our little inspectors who are checking it out the whole way through, making sure that everything was okay and up to speed. After our little inspectors were doing that for us, I decided to open it up just a little bit more to kind of see and get the whole picture. And as you can see, there was a mess of studs in there. It was absolutely ridiculous. Once everything was removed and I had the hole roughly around the size that I wanted it, I called it there, and that's the way that it stayed for a month or two because I didn't have the tool to cut the studs, and not only that, I didn't have the expertise to actually replace what was there. It's not something I've done before. So we waited for Emma's dad to get here, who is a very handy man, and basically he was just gonna kind of tell me what to do and I was gonna do it. And then the funny thing turned out that because I'm left-handed in the way that we had to be positioned, I was having a bit of a hard time cutting safely. So there was some spots that I did, some spots that he did, but anyway, this couldn't have happened without him. I don't think it was a little bit more than I could do, but less than I wanted to spend money on. Did that make sense? Anyway, so once everything was cut open, we were left with a big gaping hole. And what would we do with this big gaping hole? Well, we got our measurements. Those measurements now, the height of the hole was 34.25 inches, and the bottom part was 44.5. We set off to Home Depot on the quest to get us some materials. First, we grabbed some shims. We needed 3-inch screws. We needed 2 8-foot planks, which we were going to use as like the finished exposed wood. We needed 2 8-foot 2x3s. And then we needed a minimum cut 8-foot long trim piece, 6 of them hoes, okay? Believe it or not, that with finish nails came up to a whopping $190. What the fuck? But trim is expensive, I guess. It was like $20 a piece. Anyway, with all that said and done, we then needed to wander our way to the garage, get everything cut on the table saw and also on the miter saw. So the pieces that we cut, we put into the bottom, and then with man-made pocket jig, we made some pocket holes and secured and reinforced those studs. Believe it or not, there were no nails holding the drywall in the bottom portion of the wall, and that's why the wall was flexing so much. So at the very least, I think that cutting a hole in this wall has actually made it more sturdy than it originally was. And then as you can see right here, this is kind of the final product of all the cut pieces. The drywall cracked in some spots, as you can see up near the top, because this is an old wall, and some of the spots made it a little bit awkward. And you can see at the bottom right side here, there's a bit of a gap because there's a stud coming in horizontally that we couldn't cut far enough back. So if anything, this is the only part that's exposed for real. I also took this picture, which is kind of funny because when we peeled everything back, it revealed a few layers of paint that made it look like a grassy mountaintop. We put those 8-foot planks into the table saw and we cut them down to the width we needed. That way we could get it nice and well set into the frame. Then we shimmed it all off. Then it was time for the trim. We got it as close as we possibly could with some margin of error. As you know, with an old house, not everything can be level. It's impossible because the house is set in all these years of people pooping in the toilet. You know, it really weighs a house down. So we tried to get it as perfect as we could with the lumber that we could buy and all that stuff. And this is kind of how it looks with all of the trim put into place. We then hammered some finishing nails in because I don't have a nail gun. And this is kind of how it looked from the other side on that first night. So the only thing that I wanted was for the top of the trim to line up with the frame of the entrance way. So this is kind of the final size. I know originally the hole with the tape that I put around it was going to be bigger, but I thought that it would actually look better if it matched up a little bit more. And I don't know how much it translates, but it's way bigger in person than in picture, and this has certainly helped a lot. Airflow is so much better now. It looks better. The cats have a place to perch. As you can see, Wayne here munching on the plant. You might also see that in the background we've removed the ceiling fan because it was kind of useless. This mini split on the wall was doing all the work, and this fan hadn't done a thing since we moved in because there's literally no point in using it. So now we've installed a light. I had to call an electrician because old wiring. The wires were reversed and also one was missing. So I didn't want to burn my house down. We called an electrician. He came and did that. Few minutes. He was like, I see what the problem is. And that brings us to now. We now have a nice big hole in the wall. It's looking good. It's feeling good. It's feeling awesome. And I'm super proud of myself. for getting this far with the help that I got. Of course, big shout out to the people that helped me with Bill and Emma's dad and beer. Anyways, took a long time, mostly just because of the uncertainty, but the big thing is here, guys, you can't do this in a load-bearing wall without the proper knowledge, and in that case, you should call a professional to have that done if you want it done in a load-bearing wall. I knew it was a curtain wall, and judging by looking on the inside, if any of that was load-bearing, the house would have probably come down. That shit was poorly put together. I don't know why it was framed that way. Maybe cabinets used to be there, and that's, I don't know. Maybe there was a doorway there before, and then they closed it and moved it to the other side. I'm really not sure. In the end, it's open, it looks good, it feels good, and I'm happy. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry for taking so long. If you want regular content, go check out my gaming channel, link in the description, or somewhere on this screen at the moment. I'll see you guys whenever I've spent more money.